This year's summer cruise aboard the Oyster 54 Raiatea takes us from Kinsale up to Largs in Scotland via Ireland's rugged and stunning west coast. Raiatea is owned by long-time friend James Ellis, and our crew included myself, Steve Lawrence, Graham Green and Jack Thomas. First stop from Kinsale was Inishmore, the largest of the Aran Islands and set to the west of Galway. Famous for its sweaters, the island is also well known for its striking limestone landscape where paddocks have been created by building walls to clear the land, hundreds of them. And the 300-foot west-facing cliffs provide yet another stunning view of the island. The following day it was up sticks and off to Ballynakill, 50 miles to the north, where we stopped for the night before heading on to Broadhaven. And all the while crossing the big Atlantic swell. We're just coming into Broadhaven Bay now, which is just on the south side of Donegal Bay, and Broadhaven Harbour won't be a minute too soon, to be honest. We've got a gale chasing us up from behind. We've already had quite a long period of 30 knots now. It's chucking it down with rain. We're quite keen to get in there and find a decent anchorage. Fingers crossed, it'll be a decent anchorage. And despite the low-lying surrounding land, it was. And we had it all to ourselves. So we're leaving Broadhaven. That proved to be a very welcome shelter last night. It blew very hard overnight. It was a great anchorage, and now we're on our way for a big push over the top of Northern Ireland. Well, it's calmed down a little bit now. It was a bit lively going around that headland. I think the wind was accelerating around the corner. The tide was going against the breeze a bit, and there are overfalls. So we saw about 35 knots on the clock with some quite steep waves that were spinning us around. Prospect of that for 85 miles wasn't very appealing, but fortunately it's calmed down now. We're down to about 25 knots, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the next 85 miles will be pretty straightforward. And at last the weather broke and we were treated to a downhill slide across Donegal Bay. But the weather had one last hand to play as another gale built astern. This was no time to hang around. Well, for the first time in what seems like quite a while, we've actually got some flatter sea, or at least that's what it feels like after the huge, great rolling Atlantic waves that were chasing us down today, all day, as we sailed up towards the top of Ireland. We're just going across the top now. We're going towards Malin Head. We're about 20 miles from Malin Head now. It's just gone midnight, and once we get to Malin Head, we're going to then come up onto the breeze a bit more, and hopefully, for once, possibly, do some reaching. So here we are, Portrush, just half a mile away. This is the last stop in our Irish cruise. Interestingly, I suspect it'll be the first time we see another boat in a whole week since we left Kinsale. And I guess that's what sums up the west coast of Ireland. There's just barely anybody there at all. And that's, I guess, what gives it so much of its charm. It is absolutely beautiful. In fact, as it turned out, it wasn't our last stop, although it was for our film crew. Settled conditions meant that we couldn't resist taking a look at Rathlin Island before heading on to our final destination, Largs in Scotland. To see that part of our trip and the full feature on our cruise, take a look at the November issue of Yachting World.